Hi my friends, and welcome to my little bookish corner of the internet. In today's video, we are going to be tackling all the book series I'm currently in the middle of. A few days ago, I was updating my series tracker in my reading journal, and I was so shocked to see that I am in the middle of 16 book series. Guys, I have not even been reading for that long. I have no idea how I have allowed this to happen. I've always been someone that says, I hate being in the middle of 1,000 book series all at once. I try to finish series before I start other ones. And apparently, I am not that person. I have no idea how things have gotten to this point. But the point of today's video is to gather my thoughts around all the series I'm in the middle of and really be honest with myself. Is it worth it to continue all of these series, or should I maybe DNF some of them so that I can make space for other series I would rather read? So yeah, I think let's get straight to it. Just for the sake of structure, I've divided all of the series into different genres. We have sci-fi, fantasy, mystery thriller, fiction, and Christian fiction. So we're going to be looking at those different categories, and we're going to be starting with one of the shortest ones because I'm not a massive sci-fi reader, but sci-fi will be the first category. The first series in the sci-fi category is the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown. This is a dystopian sci-fi series, and I've talked about it in lots of detail in other videos in my channel, so go check that out. But yes, this is a series I will definitely be continuing. I have finished the initial trilogy, being Red Rising, Golden Sun, and Morning Star. I now need to go into the second saga of the series, which is Iron Gold, Dark Age, and Lightbringer. I will just be checking Goodreads on my iPad just to make sure I get all of the names right. So yeah, like I said, I will definitely be continuing this series. It was amazing and I highly recommend it. I have heard that the second saga continues to be super heavy, so I think I'm just delaying slightly, just giving myself time to recover from Morningstar. I will hopefully be continuing to listen to the graphic audios. They are absolutely fantastic. I'm really excited to continue with the Red Rising series. Then we have the Villain series by V.E. Schwab, the first book being Vicious. This is actually a either sci-fi or fantasy series. I'm not really too sure what genre this is, but it's about two college friends, and as part of their studies, they actually make an amazing discovery where when people have near-death experiences, they actually develop superpowers, and it goes from there. So it's kind of a villain's origin story. I wouldn't say this was like a 5-star book for me by any means, but I loved V.E. Schwab's writing and I was definitely invested in the story. So whether I will be continuing this series, I'm kind of unsure. I'm looking on Goodreads now. I see that we have the second book, Vengeful, and then the third book, Victorious, which will be released this year. It's kind of making me excited to read it. The one thing I'm unsure of, I see there's like a bunch of novellas. So I'm not sure if that is part of it, but I don't think I'm interested in reading those. I'm kind of just looking at the main books. Maybe I will at least commit to the second book, Vengeful, but I have heard mixed things about it. And I don't know, like from what I've heard other people talk about, I don't know if it's really worth it. So maybe let me know if this is something you think I should continue or not. I'm gonna stew on this one. Okay, so that wraps up our sci-fi genre. So next up is fantasy. The first series being the Grishaverse by Leigh Bardugo. So I have finished the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I have finished the Six of Crows duology. So the next duology I need to tackle in this world is the King of Scars and Rule of Wolves duology, I believe. If you don't know, the Grishaverse is Leigh Bardugo's YA fantasy world, and it is really good. I love Shadow and Bone, and I absolutely love Six of Crows. I think most people know about this world because of the Six of Crows duology. It is extremely popular, and for good reason. It was excellent. And I have heard mixed things about the King of Scars and Rule of Wolves duology. In fact, I don't think I've actually heard one really positive review about it, but I kind of still want to read it because some of our favorite characters are being followed in this world, and Sometimes I have like unpopular opinions. So I know a lot of people actually didn't love the Shadow and Bone trilogy. They kind of just read it for the purpose of reading Six of Crows, but I really enjoyed the Shadow and Bone trilogy. So a part of me feels like maybe I will really enjoy the next duology as well. So yeah, it's one of those that I am on the fence about, but kind of leaning towards definitely reading it. I actually have King of Scars on my Amazon wish list, and I saw that it is currently on sale for super cheap. So I might just like buy it, because I know once I have something on my physical TBR, I will definitely read it. So maybe you'll see me with a book haul with that book, and you'll know why. Next up, we have the Roots of Chaos series, or you might know it by the first book, The Priory of the Orange Tree. I picked up the first book in the series last year, and I kind of liked it. It wasn't one of those books that I finished and was like, this was incredible. And especially for how long it wasn't the amazing reading experience that I hoped it was. But my husband, in true my husband fashion, bought me this book and bought me all of his books in the series. So I do have the prequel, A Day of Fallen Night, and then the latest book, Among the Burning Flowers, on my TBR. I have mixed feelings about this series. I don't really love some of the content that's being written in this book and that I've heard continues to be written about in this book as well. But I do appreciate Samantha Shannon as an author. I think she's really talented to be able to put these stories together, despite maybe some worldview differences that I might have with her. And the fact that they are on my physical TBR makes me want to read them and just see if I like it or not. So I think I will at least read A Day of Fallen Night and see what I think about it. It has dragons, it has cool magic systems, it is an epic fantasy, so there are definitely enough things in these books for me to like and for me to still enjoy it. So I am saying yes to this next book in the series, but with a very open mind, just to like not force myself to read an 800-page chonker that I'm not necessarily enjoying. So yeah, it's a yes for now. Next up, we have one of my new favorites, and that is the Songs of Chaos series by Michael R. Miller. And this is the first book that I just recently finished, called Ascendant. This is a YA Dragon Rider high fantasy series, and I really enjoyed this first book. Needless to say, I will be picking up the next book in this series, hopefully very soon. I will see if I like the second book and make my decision from there, because it is a 4-book series. And what I've learned is that sometimes you may love the first book and the second or third book might heavily disappoint you. But for now, I am absolutely loving this series, and I hope that I'll love the next books as well. The next series is one that I'm really on the fence about, and that is the Silverblood Promise, which is the Lost Legacy series by James Logan. So I finished this book at the beginning of the month, and once again have a lot of mixed feelings. There are some elements about it that I really enjoyed, but others that I just felt like it was like a writing issue. It was like choices that the author made that I think I just don't like, and I don't know if that's going to be remedied in the second book, but I am willing to be persuaded. I have heard that the second book in the series is a lot better than the first one, and I can see that there are like really intriguing elements that we still need to unravel. So I don't know. The way I'm feeling now, I'm kind of like really feeling like DNFing the series, but we'll see. That may change. So the next few fantasy series will be going kind of more into the romantasy category. And first off, we have Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, and I will 100% be continuing the series. This is a YA historical fantasy romance. However, I don't really know if I can classify this as YA because there is some spice in this book, so just know that going in. I will definitely be continuing this series. I need to know what is going to happen in Ruthless Vows, so yeah, I definitely I'm gonna stick to not just this series, but other Rebecca Ross works as well. I would love to read Wilde Reference by her. I do have River Enchanted on my shelf as well, which I can't read because I first want to finish up some of these other series. So yeah, hopefully I can get to Ruthless Vows very soon. Then we have the Emily Wilde's books. I'm not exactly sure what you call the series. Is it like Emily Wilde's? I don't know. But yeah, I just recently finished Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies and I loved it so much. I immediately ordered the next book, Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands. It's a cozy fantasy with a subplot of romance and I love it. It follows Emily, who is an academic researching fairies in this world, and I love Emily. She is the most endearing character. I love Wendell. I love this world. It's so whimsical. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. We'll definitely be continuing this series. So the next series is quite interesting. I remember watching a YouTube video about Christian fantasy series that, you know, were available out there, and I read the first book on Kindle Unlimited and I really liked it so much that I wanted to immediately read the second book because it ended on a massive cliffhanger. And then the second book wasn't available on KU, so I didn't continue the series. But as I was checking my story graph, I remembered about it, and I kind of really want to continue this pretty soon. I can't recall if there were like massive Christian themes in this book, but I think that it's a Christian author and it's written, you know, with a bit of a Christian worldview, but it's still a fantasy series. And I remember the magic being really cool and I was invested to know what was going to happen. I think we follow this girl. She inherits this type of magic from her family where they can infiltrate people's dreams, and that was such a cool thing for me. So yeah, I think this is one that I kind of am happy that I remembered about, and I think I actually have 2 more books in the series to read. So yeah, I'm happy I remembered about that one. Then we have a series that I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I'm like up to date with, but that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Fourth Wing. We all know what Fourth Wing is. I have a complicated history with this book and this series. If it was not for the fact that Fourth Wing single-handedly brought me back to reading as an adult, I would not even looked in the direction of the series. But yeah, almost 2 years ago now, I kind of wanted to get back into reading as an adult. And at that point, I had not picked up a book in like maybe 20 years because I didn't really read as a teen. I read in middle school, but I kind of fell off the reading wagon, you know, as a teenager, and I wanted to get back into reading. And what was being recommended at the end of 2024 to everyone and anyone is Fourth Wing. So I picked up that book not knowing that spice was a thing, not knowing that people nowadays wrote really explicit content in books, because the last time I read a book, I was like 11 years old. And so began the Fourth Wing Chronicles in my life. I got such a fright, like a literal shock when the spicy scene started. I had no idea that authors wrote this, and mind you, I was listening to the audiobook, so it was even worse. So despite the shock of the spice, I did skip it, guys. I was like, what the heck is happening? But I was at that time so invested in the story because I hadn't read a book in so long. So you can imagine dragons, like all of these things, all this excitement in this book. I was like, I'm just gonna skip the spice and I'm gonna read the story. And by that time I was too invested. I listened to Iron Flame and I listened to Onyx Storm. I hated the spice, but I feel like I've gotten so far, and even though I have like strong opinions about spice-free books at this point, I kind of want to know what happens in the next book. So needless to say, I am on the fence about Fourth Wing, but I kind of need to know what happens. So yeah, next series is then the Rose Bargain series by Sasha Payton Smith. So kind of a similar thing. I didn't know that there was going to be spice in this book. I picked this up thinking that it was going to be YA, and there was a little bit of spice, but it was very easily skippable. If it was like more than a page, that would be a lot. It also ended on like a cliffhanger, and the latest book in the series has just been published, I think this month. I think it's called The Thorn Queen, and I kind of want to know what happens. I don't know if I love this book, but a part of me wants to just conclude it. I think it's just going to be a duology, so part of me is like, do I just continue it or not? I don't know. I'll still decide. So that concludes the fantasy section. Now we're getting into the mystery thriller series section, and I don't know if I should just call this the Jennifer Lynn Barnes section, because all of the series are her series. The first one being the Inheritance Games series. I have finished the first 3 books of this YA mystery series. That is the Inheritance Games, the Hawthorne Legacy, and the Final Gambit. I like them. I wouldn't say I didn't like them. I enjoyed them. They weren't groundbreaking or amazing, but really nice, fast-paced palette cleansers. So yeah, I do have the Brothers Hawthorne, which I think is the next book, on my TBR, and I also have Games Untold on my TBR. But honestly, I'm so confused about this series. When I was looking it up on Goodreads, it's so confusing. It seems like there's like 5 novellas that I need to read, and I have no idea what to read where. So can someone please educate me on the series and what is next? I think this is next, right? I can read this. But yeah, I think I'll continue them, at least the ones that are on my TBR or my physical TBR. The next mystery thriller series is one that I honestly forgot that I was in the middle of, and that is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I read this at the beginning of last year, so I can't really remember a lot about it. I remember thinking that the little romance subplots in the Inheritance Games and this book being very similar. So that's one thing. But I remember enjoying this, and when I saw that I was in the middle of this series, I was like, yeah, I need to continue this series, because once again, it's nice palette cleansers. It's something like light but still engaging, just to break up the really heavy fantasy or fiction or whatever I'm reading at that point. So I was so excited when I remembered about the series. I immediately kind of ordered the next one because I was like really intrigued. So obviously I will be continuing the series, and the next one is Killer Instinct, and I think there's 4 books in the series. Can I just ask one thing? What is going on here? What happened? How did I order paperbacks of this, and then this one is like a super tight paperback and small, and this one is like a super floppy paperback and like so much bigger? So that's a little bit of an annoying thing, but hopefully the next ones that I order will also be this floppy paperback, because I love these. So yeah, those are all the mystery thriller series I'm in the middle of. And then let's wrap up this video by looking at the fiction and Christian fiction series. There's not a lot of them. So the first one is, I love this series, Anne of Green Gables. This is a lovely, I think, middle grade or children's fiction little series, and we follow Anne, who is an orphan girl that starts a new life at Green Gables. I believe the second one is called Anne of Avonlea, and I will most definitely be continuing this series. Particularly, I really want to listen to the audiobooks by Audible that are narrated by Rachel McAdams. I love them, and I actually started listening to a different audiobook the other day of Anne of Avonlea, but it just wasn't the same. So I'm just waiting for my Audible subscription to renew. Then I'll pick that up maybe next month. Then I have 2 Christian fiction series. The first being the Light Rising. Yes, the Light Rising series, and the first book being Shadow Light. I read this in, I think, January or February, and it is a Christian adult romance novel series. I think it's actually interconnected series, but yeah, it's really good. I highly enjoyed the first book, and the second one is coming out soon, and hopefully I might get an arc, maybe. I'll let you guys know if I do. So I might be reading this sooner rather than later. So yeah, I will definitely be continuing this series. And then the last series is one that I'm once again a bit on the fence about. And this is the Out from Egypt series by Connie Lynn Cossette. So if you don't know the story by now, I accidentally read the third book in this interconnected series first. And then I recently listened to the audiobook of the first book, but I didn't really like the first book and I loved the third book. The third book is like one of my all-time favorite, like 5-star reads. So having those two different reading experiences really kind of has me, am I going to read the second book? Because I don't think I can afford to have another bad experience in this series, because the third book holds such a special place in my heart. I will still decide if I will read book number 2. And if I do, I will definitely read the physical book and not the audiobooks. I just don't think the audiobooks of this series is for me. So those are all the series that I need to really work on getting through for the rest of the year and in the coming months. I think I really need to push myself or do specific challenges to try and get through them. I really don't want to end up being in like 30 series all at once. So yeah, we've got work to do. But yeah, if you have stayed until the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you so much. Remember that you are precious to our Creator and that Jesus loves you. And until my next video, bye!